What if you misunderstood yourself? I'd like to offer a somewhat radical invitation this week for an experiment. Not a belief, not something to teach, just an experiment. So at the end of last week, for the weekend, I invited you to notice the questions that are looping inside your head. Notice what questions we ask ourselves, what comments we make most often, and what other people are saying. Because sometimes it's easier to notice it when you hear it from someone else rather than trying to figure out what's going on in your own head, because it sounds a lot familiar, right? So, not just the words we're talking, but everything around us. Now, if you paid attention, or if you even think back on earlier today or yesterday, you may have noticed how many of the questions are about fixing something. Just pause for that for a moment. How much do we say that's about fixing something? I need to lose 10 pounds. I wish I had more clients. I really need to start walking more. My bank account's too low. I wish I had more confidence. Why am I alone? And how in the world do I find my soulmate? So this week, I'd like to invite you into the second part of this invitation or experiment. And this is the radical part. For the next 7 days, I would like you to carry with you one living question, just one. And the question is, what if there is nothing wrong with me? What if there is nothing wrong with me? I know your mind already has a list, a very long list of why that is impossible. Mine did too. So I'm not asking you to believe it. I'm not. I'm simply asking you to notice what happens when you ask it. What happens when you walk into work tomorrow morning carrying that question? What happens if you have a disagreement with your partner and you're holding that question? What happens when you look in the mirror into your own eyes and ask yourself, what if there is nothing wrong with me? What happens when you make a mistake or someone criticizes you or even you disappoint yourself? Don't answer the question necessarily. Just notice what bubbles up, what occurs, what happens in your body. We're just noticing. We already spend so much of our lives gathering evidence for what's wrong with us, but we rarely seek out evidence for what's already whole. So this week, the invitation is to simply notice. Don't force yourself to believe that you're already whole. Just notice whether you've been assuming the whole time that somehow you're broken. Now, we're human. And if you're watching this, that means that you have been thinking a particular thing in a particular pattern for a long time, many years. And I'm not asking you to replace one belief with another. This is not an affirmation. That's not how this works. But I'm simply inviting you to explore a possibility, because that is the beauty of a living question. It's exploration, invitation. So instead of making the statement, I am whole, which your mind will immediately argue with, we're human, ask instead, what if there is nothing wrong with me? Notice how that feels different. Notice how the words what if at the front soften the conversation. It removes defensiveness. It removes the need to fight or to be right. It's what if those words don't demand a belief? What if simply opens a door? And sometimes that's all we need. That's it. That's all we need. So I don't want you to agree with me. I don't want you to disagree with me. I just am inviting you to live with the living question for 1 week. What if there is nothing wrong with me? Let it walk beside you. And every time you catch yourself asking a question or making statements that say, "What's wrong with me?" pause and answer it with another question. What if there is nothing wrong with me? And we will see where this takes us.